May we pray. Loving, gracious, generous God, we're here once again to sing and praise your name, but to also give you thanks for the way that you bless our lives through other people, through our families or friends, the way that you show us how to live and take care of one another. So God, we ask that you open our hearts this morning and minds this day to hear your message through your humble servant, we pray. Amen. So it's almost time for Thanksgiving. It's almost time for the turkey and all the goodies, the mashed potatoes, maybe you have sweet potatoes, maybe you have peas, you have stuffing or dressing, depending on how you cook it, how you prepare it. I know there's a difference between the two. There's probably some pumpkin pie. Some people like mincemeat pie. Some people like, there's a pecan pie. There's all these different things. And so we get excited, but it's a lot of work, isn't it? Especially for those of you who cook. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of preparation. And this week is, this Thanksgiving is in some respects no different than others when people have all these food allergies and maybe you have a whole group of people coming and you have to find out, are they gluten, free, do they need gluten-free, are they lactose intolerant, are they vegetarian, are they vegan, do they have any nut allergies? I mean, there's all these different things that you're trying to juggle all at the same time, just so people can have a nice meal together and celebrate and be thankful for the harvest, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're thanking God for having all this food grow in our land and bring this wonderful harvest of food and friendship and family. And so this is what we do at Thanksgiving. So how do these two stories that I read today, these two scriptures, tie in with Thanksgiving? I'd like to talk first about Paul. Paul is writing to the people of Philippi, and that's what the letter of Philippians is talking about. It's towards the end of his letter. And he's urging some people to kind of put some things aside to get their priorities straight and be thankful for the way that God is not only working in their lives, but what they're sharing with others about God. But Paul is in prison in Rome. And yet he's talking about rejoicing and being full of joy, even while he's in prison. And why would he be so thankful even when he's in prison and writing this letter really of love and rejoicing to the people of Philippi when he is in prison? You think about it, I mean, prisons, especially back then, were not very nice. They were pretty horrific. But he is so thankful. And it's because he knows that Christ is with him. He knows that Jesus is there with him, keeping him strong, helping him keep strong in his faith. And so he's so strong in his faith that he's reaching out to others to continue to share the good news of Christ. And so that's why he says, rejoice. Again, I say rejoice. So he is full of this love of Christ because he knows that no matter what his exterior circumstances are, no matter what he's dealing with on the outside or in his world, in his context, inside, he knows that Christ is with him. And as long as he knows that Christ is with him, he's okay. And he can deal with whatever he's facing on the outside. And early in the chapter of Philippians, there is this phrase that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I think we need to remember that. And so we have this scenario of Paul, writing to these people in Philippi, encouraging them to not only embrace Christ, but to really help get their priorities straight and understand that they're all Christians together. And so some of the things that they may be arguing about really don't matter as long as they continue to follow in the footsteps of Christ. So that's kind of what's going on in Paul's life. And then we have Zechariah in the very beginning part of the Gospel of Luke. Well, just prior to Zechariah's song, he was silent. Why was he silent? Does anybody remember why Zechariah wasn't speaking? Does anybody remember? He didn't believe that his wife Elizabeth was going to conceive and give birth to a child because they were older. And Elizabeth gave birth to John, who we now call John the Baptist. So because Zacharias wouldn't believe that his wife Elizabeth could have a baby at this time of life, God silenced his voice. And Zechariah couldn't speak until the baby was born. So now that's why we have Zechariah's song. We have a song where he is now, because John is born, he says his name is John, and he's born, and so Zechariah is celebrating from the time of Abraham all the way through, from the prophets of old. All that God has promised is now starting to be fulfilled. So Zechariah is celebrating, he's singing the song. Not just about his son, but singing about how this promise is now starting to come to fruition. Everything that the prophets of the old had prophesied are now coming true. That there is going to be a Messiah coming. And you know what? His son John was chosen to prepare the way. To prepare the way for the coming of the Lord. To prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah. And so Zechariah is celebrating from what the prophets had shared before, but now he's celebrating that God chose his family and his little baby boy to be the one to grow up. Remember, he's locust and wild honey. Remember, he has the camel there, and he's going to be the one to help people be forgiven of their sins, right? He's the one who baptizes all these people in the River Jordan. Remember? And so he's preparing the way for the one who is to come. So it's a perfect segue as we get ready for Advent, because Advent is all about us preparing not only for the celebration of the birth of Christ, which we know happened over 2,000 years ago, but for the coming of Christ again, the coming of Christ into our lives, for us to embrace this tremendous gift of love that God has given us. And so this is a perfect way of remembering and being thankful for not only John and for Zacharias and this season coming forth of Thanksgiving and now Advent. Right after that, it's really for us to remember how gracious God is, right? God is giving us so much. And so we want to be thankful for that. And so we celebrate not only Thanksgiving with the food and the friends and the family, but now we're getting into a time of waiting for that light to come back into the world, to help put away all the darkness that's in this world today, and that was in the world way back when. And so I was thinking about some things, and I was actually talking to Karen earlier about the angel tree. What a blessing it is for us to be able to get gifts to give to a child or to a senior adult. But it's more about their stories and what these families have been going through. And just hearing some of those stories that she shared with me this morning, it's not only so profound, but the struggles that these people are going through at this time in their lives. There's so many difficult situations that people are encountering. And when we want to be all happy and joyful and watch all these wonderful Christmas movies and think everything is good, we know that there's a lot of people struggling out there. We know that there's people with broken hearts. There's people that are alone. There's people that have lost loved ones. There's children that are being raised maybe by foster parents or step parents or don't have anybody anymore. Their parents are incarcerated, or there's people that are alone and they don't know where to turn. We have the answer because we have Christ. We have God's love that we want to share. And yes, we're going to give them a present. And it may be considered material thing, but aren't we giving it as a gift of love? Aren't we reaching out to them to say, God loves you. We love you. And we thank God that you are here in this world today. That's what it's about. That's what the season of Thanksgiving is about. That's what the season of Advent is about. It's about us being the light, being that light that Christ is bringing to the world once again, so that we can be the light to dispel the darkness, to help people realize that Christ is inside them, and no matter what their circumstances are that they're dealing with on the outside, that God loves them, and we do too. So let us rejoice and be thankful, because we have so many blessings. There are so many ways that we are blessed. And there's so many ways that we can be a